Oh, I had to get my drink of water when G said, "Come on, man, we in." Sorry about that. What's up, everybody? Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James.
Producer G here.
What's up, y'all? Jump on in here. We know y'all been on YouTube out listening to every damn body out there on YouTube. Watch Cowboy 80, Cowboy 1000. Everybody out there. Mark Holmes, salute to all y'all. Law Nation, I know y'all out there banging, spreading the good gospel of the NFL draft because we saw it today. So make sure you check out them if you haven't already. But we're glad you're here if you are. So listen to us a little bit and our little thoughts about the 2019 NFL draft for the Dallas Cowboys, which I thought all in all was a pretty good draft.
Yeah, started with 6 picks, turned into 8 picks, so a couple unexpected additions there. A lot to talk about in this draft. It was more towards the defense than it was offense, but pretty balanced. But before we get going, because we're going to recap all the picks, react to them, we'll talk about why or why not. Everybody's going to have thoughts on it. So let us know in the comments. We're on YouTube right now, streaming live. We'd appreciate a share, a like on the video, subscribe to us if you're not already, so you can catch us more often. We've been streaming a little bit more often here lately, the last week or so. What's up, Daniel Mezzo, Ryan Dye, our regular people in there, Daniel Baldonado, Muggs Maxwell, giving a few shout outs for early commenters, Jared Head 92, and then Nets in there. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, get the comments coming in. We'll get to them.
Meticulous Cowboy 86, what's up with you? Appreciate you. Keep on jumping in here. We need some more people. I need some more people up in here. You know what I mean? I like when I see the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to see it banging. So get out here and show your friends.
Yes.
And let's talk some Cowboys football, man.
That's why you kind of get into a little bit of
What up?
banter before we really get into the meat and potatoes of it. If you saw us yesterday, we were live during the first or second and third rounds yesterday, so we were able to react live to those picks, which was pretty cool. But now this is the third and final day. The draft is over, so now we get to react to the whole thing because that was just 2 players. Now we added 6 more today. So I'm going to go ahead and get this graphic on the screen so you can kind of see where the picks fell.
Go ahead and get it up.
You can see it
What's
right
up,
there.
all y'all?
We had Tristan Hill, Connor McGovern in rounds 2 and 3 yesterday. As I said, we were live during that, so you can always watch back if you want to see our reactions to those picks, but we will talk about them today as well a little bit. And then today, Tony Pollard in the 4th round. Cornerback Michael Jackson from Miami in the 5th, and then again in the 5th, just 7 picks later, Joe Jackson, defensive end from Miami. And then finally they get a safety. Everybody was wondering when they were going to do that. We'll get into that, why they didn't take a guy sooner or what was the deal with the safety spot. And then Mike Weber, the running back from Ohio State, which I think is going to be a big steal. Coming in the 7th round, they added another 7th round pick, grabbing Jalen Jelks, another defensive end from Oregon, which I have some thoughts on why the Cowboys were into the defensive ends in this one as well. So where you want to start off?
Probably like the beginning.
Just
we
recap
might as well
a
do
little
a whole
bit.
damn recap. Yeah, let's go. You
All
took
right.
100 years to say all them words.
I was just giving a quick rundown of the draft. So that's okay.
You ready?
I won't talk no more. It's all you. The floor is yours.
Shut up. Anyway, if we doing a recap, I think, like I said, I think somebody jumped in here and said a D. Are you crazy? I think you're just kind of joking right now if you're calling this was a D draft. This was a good solid draft because, you know, the reason why I'm gonna jump out there and reason why I said maybe we didn't get the players we wanted because I think the Cowboys are really trying to wait in that 4th round where you could see where they were trying to see they could get those depth players that they kind of wanted. And them damn Raiders just really make me mad. Number one, they took Jonathan Abram with the 1st round pick, which upset me because they took it at our pick. And I know they were doing it because the Cowboys were trolling them about Amari Cooper. And I know they were like, okay, well, we're going to take Jonathan Abrams high. I don't, maybe it wasn't like that, but it just feels that way. And then you're getting right after the Cowboys take Tristan Hill. That was our first 2nd round pick, which I think was a great pick. 6'3", 315 pounds, a great one tech. Marinelli, if you look at some of the videos, he was really liking his workouts. Great, one of those guys, effort all the time, along with the talent can be dominant. Sometimes they say, coaching has to be an issue. They gave him a little workout thing before he was talking about contract. So, but at the end of the day, G, we saw right after that they took the three safeties, Taylor Rapp. Who else was Taylor
Yeah,
Rapp?
matter of fact, let me run through it. Well, not those picks, but our picks while we're talking about this, just to
Yeah,
kind of give them. But yeah, Taylor Rapp was one of them, and it was
uh,
Thornhill.
Thornhill and Adderley.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
safeties were dropping.
yeah, they dropped right after that, and so then in this fourth round, I think the Cowboys were like, okay, we got some other guys now. Let's try to get those people that we want. And then Will Harris, I think Will Harris, who I think they really like from Boston College, I think they were kind of trying to target him. He got taken. Surprisingly, that Harris kid, that Willis kid from Michigan State, got taken, and then I think they were going to focus strictly on corner. Well, not strictly, but they were going to cornerback right after when they picked Pollard. They were going after cornerback and targeting Isaiah Johnson. I told you I had Isaiah Johnson in my mock draft at the fourth, the second compensatory pick, fourth. That's when their Cowboys were going to go after him, and I know they were going to pick him. The Raiders picked before us, and they picked Isaiah Johnson. And if they wouldn't have picked him, Cowboys would have, because I know that's what Rashard's guy was. So I know he was a little frustrated. He didn't get him, and that's why I believe they traded back out of the fourth round and went into the fifth round, and that's when they got Joe Jackson and Michael Jackson, the Jackson boys. Hee hee. They got both of them.
Hey, I'm all for that. I'm a big Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah, I was waiting for that one, So, but they both got them, and I think that's the reason why the guys that they were targeting, they were going to go after in the fourth round, got swallowed up, and they're thinking, well, let's just go back and see what we can find after that.
When's the last time you can remember the Cowboys drafting Miami Hurricane? It's been a while, from what I can
Been a
remember.
while
And they
since
did
Jimmy
two back to
Johnson
back.
days. Since Jimmy Johnson days, Jimmy Johnson was bringing in the Miami boys left and right.
Yeah, we were just talking
So
about that last night. You and I were about how the Cowboys don't really go after teams that they're not that familiar with, that they haven't had a trend of drafting from. But we were talking about Florida Gators last night, but you see it here with the Hurricanes,
yeah,
back to back.
two in one round, but that's cool. Like I said, we're going to talk about them guys as well. But as I said before, when you talk about Tristan Hill, I really like that pick. Some people said they shouldn't have reached and went at 58 with him, and could have went slid in the third round. I think if you see the way the draft was, I don't think he would have lasted the way it was happening until the third round. So I think it was good that they went and got him. We got a good space eating guy who can groom. You can do something with him this year, and then next year he can kind of be your guy because, like I said, all four of those guys on the line, I believe, all are expiring contracts. So you need a guy who's going to be stepping forward and be under contract, and who's going to be one of your dominant type guys you think can be heading into the future with your team, because you don't know what's going to happen with these other guys with these contracts. So Tristan Hill, great pick. Then the surprise pick, Connor McGovern, that surprised everybody. I think
Yes.
um, a lot of people were like, "Well, why didn't we go after the safety position? Why didn't that happen?" But when you really look at it, it could be signing a time for La'el Collins. I did say that there was a couple people, if the Cowboys dangled people just to see, it would be Taco Charlton and La'el Collins. Those were two people I said, because I don't know if La'el is going to be back. I don't think he is going to be back after next year. And you got a Connor McGovern who plays guard, okay, and he is stout, plays it good, good pass protector. Vach posted a video. Vach, he does his things with the breakdowns. He broke down Connor McGovern, showed me a lot of good things. Lost a little bit of his way in the run game, but he is stout. He does have good size, great pass blocker, and you could see Connor Williams was a tackle at Texas. He could kick out next year, and they're talking about you could slide him at guard, move Connor Williams at tackles, just in case Collins walks, because he's kind of not meeting up to their expectations of what they thought he was going to be.
Yeah, you said it a minute ago. That was my first thought with the McGovern pick was this is the end for one of the current starters on that offensive line, because you pick a guy that high, and from what I understand, he's like a strong work ethic guy, and he kind of fits the mold of the guys that we have there with the Zach Martins, the Travis Fredericks, the Tyron Smith, the hard-working, great character guys. So, and he even made a statement that I saw that said something to the effect of I would die to protect my quarterback or something crazy like that. So he said he's willing to lay it all on the line for him, or he'd give up his body or something like that for his quarterback. So you like hearing those things. and he played in a big time school against good competition. So that's to me just spelled the end for someone when that was my initial thought for that pick
Well,
with the
you
guard.
Well, just like you said, he played in the Big Ten, and Travis Frederick. A lot of the good offensive linemen come from the Big Ten, and especially Big Ten is another. Penn State is another good team. If they bring out offensive linemen, they tend to play good in the NFL. So this is a good, smart pick. And once again, you're protecting your assets. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, those guys. That has to be huge. You win at the line of scrimmage. If you don't have an offensive line, it doesn't matter if you have the greatest running back in the world or great quarterback. It doesn't matter because you cannot protect them. So they're continuing to build with that, and it's adding continued depth. Like I said, they still have Fleming. They have still have Joe Looney. They still have Filo. Filo, yeah, Suafilo. That's who it is. So you guys still got depth with those guys, and they have all played it last year. So going into training camp, you're feeling good about yourself on the offensive line and the defensive line because you're covered on both spots with free agency, re-signing your own players, and now you have two guys in your first two picks on the line that's still adding more and good depth with talent. So you're covering your bases right there. So you feel good about your first two picks, and then we're going to jump in a fourth pick, which was Tony Pollard. Okay. Now, Tony Pollard, I mentioned him. Remember when we did our draft the other day, a few
Yes,
weeks ago?
you had
About
it. You actually had it between him and Mike Weber.
yes,
Funny enough. So
isn't that
what do
crazy?
you know?
So if you checked us, hey, I
The
ain't saying I'm banging like them guys, but check it out though. I did call both of these dudes. Didn't we, producer G? Didn't we put?
yep,
I
yep.
said that was the battle.
You can always go
I
back and
said
watch.
go back and check it out. But I said these would be the two guys that the Cowboys would pick from. I was battling who the Cowboys would take between them two, and I said Weber. They end up getting both of them, and the reason why is because you could see with Tony Pollard the big playability, kick returning. I posted a video on there. I think he had like 7 returns in 1 year, 6 returns in 1 year. He has great balance, good speed. Um, just not really experienced as a running back, but he can do a lot of things. He can catch. He can run out the backfield. He got a little bit of time when Henderson decided not to play a little bit, going, waiting out for the NFL. And definitely that kick return ability. And Dallas doesn't have a kick returner. You see Tavon Austin as a punt returner, but Dallas still doesn't have a kick returner. This is a kid, if he shows anything in the preseason, who's going to already be penciled in as our number one kick returner. And he got on the phone with Kellen Moore. If you saw, Kellen Moore was talking to him. So hopefully Kellen Moore might be using him more than a Scott Linehan would have, and use him as a trick play guy, use him in the backfield with him and Zeke, use him in multiple plays to make the Dallas offense not predictable. That's the biggest thing that we want to see, that we were crying about the last couple of years, that the Dallas Cowboys had a predictable offense. Now you get dynamic guys. You get a Mike Weber, who we'll talk about later, and then you get a Pollard, who already shows he can be dynamic, and you got Zeke. Now you can do a little bit of things. You still got Tavon Austin. Now your offense looks a little more dynamic, and you still got a quarterback who can throw and run. So it makes it your offense keep the defense off balance, and that's what you want.
Yep,
What's up, Peter DeLeo?
and
What's up, dog?
you said it with him not being. A lot of people were confused because I've been watching comments all day long. Obviously been posting on the page and getting a lot of reaction comments. I've been kind of looking through, seeing what people are saying, what the buzz is about some of this stuff. And one of the things that people are confused about as to why the Cowboys took two running backs. You said it. He doesn't have a ton of running back experience. He doesn't have 1,000-yard rushing season. He's more of a kind of a do-it-all guy. I wouldn't really even label him maybe as a running back. And he said it himself on a call-in show on draft day. He was talking to Brian Broaddus and the DallasCowboys.com crew. He said, "Just call me an athlete."
Mm-hmm.
But that's why you got another one because Rod Smith is gone. Uh, Jackson, the backup who's been there, hasn't really proved that he was not able to beat out a Rod Smith, or maybe his opportunities were limited. But uh, I think Mike Weber's a guy that can handle a full load if Zeke goes down or something like that. So I feel good about the pick. I've seen a lot of Ohio State games. Really, I've watched basically every game Mike Weber's been in. So That would probably, to me, answer some of those questions as to why people think or wondering why did Dallas take two running backs.
Yeah, and I think everybody should know that Tony Pollard wasn't considered strictly a running back. Even when he came in, he was a kick returner, running back slash receiver. He had all multiple positions, and that's the Dallas hasn't really had that type of running back. They've been trying to look for that, haven't they? Been looking there with Lance Dunbar.
Yeah.
There was somebody else they were trying to mold into a running back that could really bounce off of Zeke and really be like a scat back guy who can do anything and keep the defense off balance. And I'm thinking that that's what they're going to do with Tony Pollard, and that's why they took him. Now, as I said before, I wish the Cowboys, and hey, I'm not going to doubt anything that they're doing because the front office is doing great, but I wish they would have flip flopped this and went after Isaiah Johnson first and got Isaiah Johnson and then got Tony Pollard with the next pick. Maybe they just really treasured Pollard and really felt like they didn't want to lose him and they could gamble and get Johnson. They would did it that way. So hey, no, I can't cry over spilled milk because Johnson's not with us, and they got Michael Jackson, who we're going to talk about next. And I'm not dogging him at all. But just kind of, I think Chris Richard, this after they seen this, they were like, let's go back and trade out and try to get some good surplus, and that's what they did. These fifth round picks with Joe Johnson and Joe Jackson. I'm sorry, and Michael Jackson. He.
From what and some of the things that I was hearing this morning as well, just having the TV on all day, listening to all
Mm-hmm.
these different reporters and things like that, people with inside information, was that the Cowboys had like kind of a plan for positional picks today. Like that's what we're targeting today: running backs, safeties, cornerbacks. They ended up with a couple of defensive ends, but that's what they were talking about this morning. You kind of saw that pattern right away with the running back, the defensive back. Like you just said, they feel like after that running back, they had to go in and get the defensive back now. But you're getting these guys late, and we've seen in the past you can get guys late. We've seen Anthony Brown, 6th round pick, who turned out pretty good. And like, I think we got a couple steals here. I really do. I feel
Who you
pretty good
think of?
about them.
Who do you think of the steals right now?
I mean, Mike Weber for sure, a 7th round pick. Like that's crazy. I know a lot of people probably don't watch a lot of Ohio State because I mean Dwayne Haskins fell a lot too. Now Haskins didn't have a lot of playing time. We're talking about the quarterback for the Redskins now, so I understand people being a little bit skeptical on him. But Weber, if you know the situation, you know that he was on his way to being Zeke like at Ohio State. Probably was going to be if it weren't for J.K. Dobbins coming in there and an injury or two. I think Weber could have been like Ohio State's all-time leading rusher or close to it at some point because you saw how he started as a freshman at Beastie in high school. But that's just who I think will be the biggest steal here. But I don't know. I just trust the staff that's been making picks. Like they've been hitting on these late-round picks. I said it like Anthony Brown. I think back to guys like Jay Ratliff and things like that, late round picks that end up turning out to be great. So I hope we can strike. You never know. One of these guys could be monsters. And when we get into the defensive ends, I've got a little bit more thoughts on for why I think we did what we did there as well. But how good is this guy? Can you tell us about some measurables, some things that he's good at or not so good at? Can he compete? I mean, we have a pretty stacked cornerback depth right now, but it'd be nice to
Well,
add another guy.
I definitely think if we could compete, because I don't think we're as stacked as a lot of people think. But let me give a few shout outs to everybody who's in here right now. We appreciate it. First, we were like at 20. Now we out there banging. We appreciate Cowboys fan. 421, meticulous Cowboys have 86. Justin Quarles, Cowboys X. What's up? Ryan died. David Fulton, Flames Kings Kid. What's up? Eric Loafman, Alden Karma. Buddy Johnson, what's up with you, buddy? How you doing?
Yes.
Emmanuel Alawaza, I think might be that. Philip Ellips, everybody, Peter DeLeo, as I said before, keep on jumping in here and let's keep on talking Cowboys football. But to give you some measurables on the Michael Jackson kid, he. One more time. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
going at
real
this
quick
dude.
though, I just want to
What's
stop you
up?
before you get
What's
into that
up?
because you
What's up?
said
What's up?
it's not as stacked as people think, but I feel like we got 4 capable starters. I know we
Yeah,
might be
but
losing Byron Jones, but right now for this season, I feel like we're pretty stacked right there, unless somebody gets hurt.
well, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, we're good,
We need
but
a little
when
depth,
we're
maybe.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need depth because we're still one injury away from being out of depth.
I mean, we
So
usually
that
carry what, five to six
5 to
cornerbacks.
6 cornerbacks,
So we
maybe
got
yeah,
4 that are locked in.
four that are locked in. But as I said before, there was some injury bugs that were going on last year. Byron Jones already has an injury this year. That would mean he had it last year and he's taking care of it this year. But Cheeto has been injured. He hasn't been fully healthy all the time. Anthony Brown had a few nicks and bumps and bruises. Jordan Lewis has some hamstring issues. So you got to have good critical depth and you got to have talent. So the good thing about this is, he played at the U. I like for some about Miami Hurricane players. I don't know what it is. Maybe is it
The
the aura.
history. It's the
I just
history.
feel like they just dogs. I just feel like you get a Miami Hurricane player, they some dogs naturally, and he's got good size, 6'1", 200, about 10 pounds. Pretty good speed, about 4.4 speed, sub 4.4 speed. Um, doesn't have a lot of interceptions, but can play on the ball. I showed some highlights of him. I didn't get to see a lot of Michael Jackson, to be very honest, but I have been checking out some tape. As soon as he got drafted, I watched some games and I watched some tape. He can trailer with the receiver. He's not a super fluid athlete, like not that super fluid athlete, but he has that good athletic size, if you get what I'm saying. He's just not super fluid. So I don't see him being like a great press corner. He'd be better suited as like a cover two guy. A guy could be a good in zone, can lay the wood on you, that type of cornerback. So he can play in those type of schemes. Maybe you don't want to isolate him a lot one on one with a fast guy, even though he has that speed. It could be a straight line speed. And if a stop and go type receiver can get at him, it could probably hurt him, if you get what I'm saying. Penalties as a young receiver with the grabbing and the holding. But overall, I like how it adds depth to the team and he'll be able to compete and it puts competition in that defensive backfield. So letting hopefully everybody know that, if you don't play good, your job could be taken because Chris Richard loves the tall type cornerback. So even though Jordan Lewis, I think, is a better cover corner than this kid, he may not get his chance because this kid is 6'1", 210 pounds.
And yeah, so when you're talking size, we know Chris Richard loves that length, right? Is that kind of where we're going here with this? Like that this guy fits the mold of what Chris Richard wants in size.
I mean, that's what his gift was because if you look at it, Chris Richard started coming into that war room. Like they said, him and Marinelli walked in that war room in the fourth round. So that means I feel that that's what they were going after Isaiah Johnson. They were going after his type guy. When they didn't get him, I think they were kind of trying to cater to Richard and get him a cornerback because he was wanting one for his defense. As I said before, they've already signed the kid from Kentucky, Chris Westery, and he's 6'4", 200 pounds. That tells you right there what type of cornerbacks Chris Richard wants. They immediately signed him when they felt he was not drafted. They loved that because that's a toy that Richard wants. He wants cornerbacks over like 6'1". Isaiah Johnson, a guy who he really wanted, was 6'2". Joe Jawan Williams from Vanderbilt was about 6'3", 6'4". He wants those type of cornerbacks. He wants length and long arms to be able to pressure these receivers and get at them at the line of scrimmage. So that's why I believe targeted Michael Jackson, and he plays with the Miami Hurricanes, and that's good competition. He's going against guys that he's going to have to compete with, and I think that helped him going into the NFL.
What's up, everybody in the comments? Cowboys fans, we're going to be coming to you in a minute. We're going to give some more shout outs. We're trying to take some comments. I want you guys to leave in the comments. Give us a grade for this draft. What do you think? How would you grade this draft? I felt pretty good about it. I'll give a final grade before we finish the show for me. But you guys in the comments, leave your grades. Let us know who was your favorite pick, who you think will be the biggest sleeper in this draft. We want to talk about all that today, or tonight, I should say. So get your comments in there. We appreciate you all tuning in. If it's your first time watching, we do streams like this all the time, so make sure you subscribe. Hit the like
Like
button
and
for us. That
subscribe.
helps us out. We need the thumbs up, especially if we're
Yeah,
shouting you out and we're saying your comments, things like that. We're helping you guys be heard by your peers, and we need to also help because the likes help, the subscriptions help. We need that so we can continue to grow and try to keep getting better. So we're kind of just piecing this stuff together with frankly, like not that expensive type equipment. So imagine what we could do with a lot, more better equipment, things like that. We could bring it and make it a lot better. Anyway, one final thing I had for this guy for you before we went to the next one was you were talking about how he might be limited in his coverage. Do you think he could? Because I think Richard Sherman, if I'm not mistaken, was kind of a guy that was really only able to be on like one side of the field. Do you think he could be that kind of guy where he can just maybe lock down one side of the field or something like that? Was Richard Sherman
no.
also a late draft pick, right?
Yeah, he was. I think Richard Sherman was a fifth or a sixth, but I don't see no Richard Sherman in him at all. I see he's a good corner, like I said, good length. I don't see that, but maybe that's just me. I don't see the Richard Sherman. I saw more with the Isaiah Johnson than this kid. I see an athletic, strong, physical type guy that can put pressure at the corner position. But once again, he has that speed, but I don't know if he has the turn and hips. He doesn't look like he has the super turn and hips that he could just run with those guys that are super athletic. But with that size, it does help if you're playing in a cover two scheme because you can shadow and stay over top of a receiver and play in that good zone position in that 10 to 15 yard length. That's when you can see him really playing good, making good open field tackles, that type of guy, physical, making tackles in the open field because Richard demands that, and as well as Marinelli. You have to be a good tackler in the open field.
If you just tuned in on YouTube Live, we're recapping the draft. We're reacting to each pick. We've gone rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5 right now. So we've gone through the first 4 players. There's 4 left to talk about. I wanted to get to a few comments. Kyle Banks says Michael Weber is Zeke 2.0.
I
Um,
don't know about that, but I think he'll definitely be a good backup.
I
As
don't
I
think he
said
can be
before,
as good as a Zeke, but I definitely
no,
know he's
he's
got
no.
that type of burst. I mean, that 4.3 speed is going to be something big if he can get in the open field. He's another guy that can just take it from anywhere on the field and score with it. But he's a little bit more injury prone, I would say. But
That
no,
was his
there's no
problem. That was
comparison
his
though.
problem at Ohio State, and that's one reason why he left. Had to start um, sharing time with KJ Dobbins because he got hurt, and that opened the door for Dobbins. And once Dobbins started really shining, then he kind of took up a backup role. I think he's more of a backup NFL player. I don't think he's a starter. I think he's great in the position that he's in because Dallas needed a capable backup, and I think that's what he is right now. And I believe he offers on special teams because you saw him take returns at Ohio State, so he offers that, and you have to be able to play special teams with the Ohio State. So yeah, I think a lot of people, when you look at the comments, if you're saying what was a steal for us, I definitely think it was Mike Weber being in the seventh round because I believe they had a third or fourth round grade. I had them picking him in the fifth, so I was surprised he was still around in the seventh.
And this draft was kind of weird for offensive players anyway. You didn't even see running back or a receiver come off the board until late in the first round. I believe it was an NFL record for the longest time until a running back or wide receiver was drafted. So kind of a down season all around for offensive players, but maybe that's just kind of the way the league's been trending because there's just so many of them now that it kind of pollutes the good talent that's there. So you can find a lot of good talent late, and a lot of guys get overlooked. But a couple shout outs to Cowboys fan EST90. Appreciate you in there. Marcus Lightborn, what's going on? Aldrin Kamara, Eric Loafman's leaving comments talking about Chris Richard coaching up Michael Jackson. Hee hee. Muggs Matt, we got to get a sound effect for that.
Yeah,
What's
we
up,
definitely
Muggs
got to get one.
Maxwell? Aaron Henry gives a B plus grade. Eric Loafman B. A lot of people looking at a B right now to B plus for their grades in the comments. Justin Corliss, what's going on? Seek you, appreciate you for subscribing. We always love that. It definitely helps. My Cowboys family, what's up?
What up, my Cowboys family?
Oh man, appreciate all you guys. Stevie Mack, one of our moderators in there, Matitious Cowboy 86. Yes, thank you all for tuning in right now. We're halfway through it, like I said. So we're about to get into the second four or the last 4 players that were picked out of the 8. But first, I wanted to,
Ryan Dodds got a question right quick. He
yep.
asked, does he think Tristan Hill starting right away? No, I don't think Tristan Hill will start right away. Sorry about that. I don't think Tristan Hill will start right away because, like I said, you got Antoine Woods, you got Malik Collins, who's in his contract year. You get what I mean? You got Daniel Ross, who I think who's a good slept-on player, and then you got the kid that they just signed from the Texans, Christian Covington, who's good size, 6'2", 300, about 5'10" pounds, who's very active and young. So unless Hill comes in and like gangbusters and just destroying and ripping apart everything in training camp and preseason games, I don't see that. I think they want to bring him along slowly. Don't want to put the pressure on him. Want him to really work and earn his spot, and then be in a good rotation and make some good splash plays, and then kind of go from there. But I definitely don't see him starting right away with the talent they have right now on that defensive front.
If anybody else has questions, send those in so we can take questions because we'll do that as well. If you have a question for Big Game James, he would love to answer it for you. But I wanted to talk about this because this photo was put out by Leo Collins on his Instagram during the draft today. So this is kind of what the rest of the guys are doing while the draft's going on. You see Travis Frederick in there, Leo Collins, Zeke, Dak, Jeff Heath with some big fish. Look at all the fish. You think they actually caught those?
Yeah, they caught
Those
them. They
are
they
some big
they
fish.
Yeah, they annually take that trip. The offensive linemen started doing that. There was, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, I believe Tyron Smith, and those guys were doing that like every year. I believe they just started including Dak and Zeke, and now you got Jeff Heath. Think Jeff Heath was kind of been slipping. Everybody loves some damn Jeff Heath. They are never getting rid of Jeff Heath. We just might as
No,
well
they're
pencil that
not.
in. They're not getting rid of Jeff Heath. He is going to be a player with the down. He's like the feel good story with the Cowboys. And they're not getting rid of him. So I don't. We might as well just let that go. Yeah, I don't know when we're going to get a safety. We'll talk about Donovan Wilson, but I don't think he's going to challenge some Jeff Heath. I'll just be honest with you.
I was thinking
And
about
where
that
the
earlier. Like
I just don't see that.
that might be a good headline or title for a new article. Like, do the Cowboys like favor their players too much? Like, is that
Well, they
possible?
love some Jeff Heath, dog.
I feel like they do this all the time.
They
Like
love
they don't
some
want to
damn
hurt.
Jeff Heath.
Yeah, they'd have a good relationship with him. They don't want to
They
hurt his
do. I
feelings or
mean,
something.
why you think Jason Witten came back?
But I wonder if Leo Collins is feeling something.
I
After,
mean,
yeah,
then
you're
they
right
don't. I
about
don't know
Witten.
if I don't know if they love Leo Collins. I
he
mean, for real.
he's the one posting that picture, feeling good.
Yeah, he might be feeling good, but that don't mean that they're feeling good. Like, you don't draft. I know you draft the offensive line, but he's in the third round. And Vach, I'm listening to Vach. He says you draft the offensive lineman early. You don't draft the offensive lineman late. If when you draft the offensive lineman late, most likely they're not gonna make the team.
Yeah,
You
probably
get
you
what I
got to
mean?
get one at least before the third round. I'd say.
Right, exactly. So this is a guy who they think is going to be a starter. So if they think he's going to be a starter, and you got Tyron Smith, nobody's taking his spot. Travis Frederick, nobody's taking his. Right guard, Zach Martin, nobody's taking his spot. Connor Williams, who they really love, he's going to be the starter. That leaves out one guy. So you kind of put the dots together, whatever they say, connect the dots or whatever. Is that what they call it? But
Connect the
uh,
dots.
that's just what it is, man. You know.
Yep, and then you always got to worry about injury too. But let's go ahead and jump back into the draft. Moving on now to the second half of the draft. We stay in the Jacksons. We stay in Miami. We stay in the fifth round.
Uh-huh.
So
Joe Jackson.
back to back Jackson picks. Same school, same round, same last name. Welcome to Dallas.
Now I like Joe Jackson. Reason why I like him is, man, he's got good size. He's got that NFL, as they say, the prototypical NFL size, especially for the defensive end position, about 6'4", 275 pounds. Bull rusher, strong. If you watch a lot of his games, doesn't have a lot of moves per se. You don't see him with a lot of moves, but he's great with that bull rushing, and he's uses that strength to get in that backfield and overpower those offensive linemen. And he's a guy who's very active and stays after the ball. I think he had nine sacks this past season, and it was a guy that was a highly touted athlete coming into Miami. They said, I was reading, it was a four-star athlete. But if you just watch him in the games, he has some good bursts off the offensive line. Isn't that one of those super athletic guys that burst is going to kill you? But he's one of those guys that's going to keep coming after you, coming after you, coming after you. He's kind of like those guys you see on the defensive line where you see a bunch of the stars, right? Like, let me give you an example. I'm not going to say, I don't know if this is a great comparison, but Charles Johnson that was with the Carolina Panthers
Mm-hmm.
was a guy that you never really talked about him, but he's always getting like them 7, 8, 9 sacks in the season and making plays. This is what Joe Jackson reminds me of, a guy who you're not going to be talking about all the time as one of those devastating players on the team, but he's a guy that'll be
Solid.
getting a big sack in
A
the
Marcus
game.
Spears.
Yeah, yes, he'll be a guy that makes big plays when you least expect it, and it'll be Joe Jackson. It'll be like, there goes that dude, Joe Jackson. I think he's that dude, and I think he's going to make that type of difference on the team. And especially you get Ron Marinelli getting his hands on him, loving the effort. I think he's just going to continue to coach him up, and I think I really like the pick for Joe Jackson, and I think he can make a difference along that defensive line.
Yeah, I love when guys have a good amount of sacks while they're in college and not like the situation we had with Taco where he had what 3 to 4 sacks for Michigan
Hmm.
like per season. I like a guy who actually shows he can get 9 to 10 sacks in a season because I think that can translate to the NFL. And I feel like this guy maybe, um, I guess you would say like a replacement for like a David Irving, like is what I would see. Maybe hopefully, I mean, he should have a better head on his shoulders and actually be able to play with the team. But you look at what happened with Taco so far, with Randy Gregory's situation, David Irving. I mean, it only makes sense that you got to get some young guys for the future. And to me, this speaks a lot of volume to how they feel about Taco, how he's not been working out. Because if you had Taco and Randy Gregory, you're not even really thinking defensive end in this draft. But you can't really count on Randy Gregory, and Taco just hasn't shown enough. Although he hasn't really had the most opportunity, but he could get that coming up with Demarcus Lawrence recovering from the shoulder surgery. But
Well, this is his best
but
time to do it. I mean,
this
if he go
if
ahead.
I was just gonna say to finish that off, if anything, this just brings in competition, and maybe that's what the Cowboys are thinking. Like we got Spark Taco because he's a little bit too comfortable as a backup. It seems like so. I think they want to do something to try to push him and get him to live up to that potential that he has.
Well, let's hope so. You got these guys out here. You already, like I said, you got Dorrance Armstrong Jr. People aren't talking about him. Remember, he was our draft pick last year from Kansas,
Mm-hmm.
and he flashed last year. He flashed pass rushing ability, especially on third downs. You got a Kerry Hyder who you got in free agency who has 8 sacks in a season from 2016, and he's not like 8 years in the league. He's still young. He's been on going on his fourth year. You get what I mean? So you have, and then as you said, the best. This is the best time for Taco to do something. He is coming off a shoulder injury, but Demarcus Lawrence is going to be out pretty much for the whole camp. Seems like with his nursing this injury that he's rehabbing. But this should be the best time for Taco to be able to make some plays
This will be
because
his best opportunity yet, I think.
yeah, yeah, and you're playing on the left side where Demarcus Lawrence plays, and he's not going to be playing there. So show some stuff on the left side because that's what you are. So the Cowboys can start thinking, okay, maybe we have something here. If not, they got their butts covered, and those guys will take your place if you're not going to do it because, hey, this is the NFL, meaning not for long.
No truer words have been spoken. I think a average career is 3 seasons, maybe 4, something like
Mm-hmm.
that for most
Mm-hmm.
guys. So, when you're picking later in the draft, like most of these guys aren't even going to be making the rosters, but you
Yeah.
might be able to get lucky and find a couple in there. Maybe not quite this late in the fifth round, but like when you get in them sixth, late sevenths, those guys rarely make rosters.
And Kyle, hey, I just want to give a shout out to Kyle Banks. You're right. I haven't even said anything about Tyrone Crawford, so I definitely apologize. Forgot
There's
about
so much
Crawford
depth
to
on
put
that
your.
defensive
We
line.
got so much depth along the line. You don't even mention Crawford. Just like we were talking about the other day, you don't even mention Sean Lee.
I think of
We have so
Crawford as a
much.
tackle though, like myself,
I
more
mean, he's
so.
great. He's great at playing tackle. That's where he made his money. That's where he got his big contract. You got 4.5 sacks. He looked like he was the future. I remember reading about him on NFL.com when the Cowboys drafted, and they said he was next up and coming because he was. They always have the top under 25. Tyrone Crawford was in that group,
Another Boise State guy.
and then he didn't do anything, had the injury, and then they moved him out to defensive end, and he was always those guys at defensive end where he would just get close enough, but he would never get the sack. You remember in his early years, he would always get close, but he would never get the sack. And that's why they put him under tackle because he could use that quick burst. So, Tyrone Crawford, he's still a good veteran and he's a leader on the team. So you got so much depth along the line. You feel good. I think Stephen Jones mentioned this earlier today when they were talking about the draft, how this is one of the first time in a long time this team has one of the most depth in a very long time. You see it on both sides of the ball, and that's a great thing for your team when you have depth and it's talented depth. So when a player may get hurt, suspended, something may happen, you don't sit there and cry the blues. You can slide another guy right in and you don't miss a beat. And that's what you want your team to be. And that's how you stay competitive in this NFL year in and year out.
Muggs Maxwell has a question. It's a little off topic, but we could hit it. He says, with the divisions, because you and I kind of been talking about this, you said you ain't worried about it at all. With the other teams in the division, the drafts that they've had, the Giants with the surprise pick in the top 10,
Mm-hmm.
Redskins with the Haskins and a new receiver and a new pass rusher, and they even got the running back who was injured, Bryce Love. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably going to be a future after Adrian Peterson, but are you worried about these? Because I'm thinking we got some good competition now in the future because all these quarterbacks are young with a lot of potential.
Well, I'm not saying there's shaking. I'm not shaking in my boots from Daniel Jones, and as I said before, Haskins. He's a good quarterback. Well, I got to see him, but right now I'm not scared of Haskins. I don't feel like if I see Haskins under center, we're shaking in our boots about him. Now, when Carson Wentz came into the division, I was like, okay, he's going to be a problem for some years, and really hasn't. The injury bug that's really kind of knocked him down because Carson Wentz still can play some football. I don't care what anybody says. I may not like the Eagles and whatever, but he's still a good quarterback and he can make plays. So going forward, I look at they it's some talent going forward, but with our defense and if they continue to draft the way they are and keep on replenishing every year and getting key free agents how they're doing and not spending a lot of money, those quarterbacks don't worry me because if you got a great or a very good defense, it shuts those guys down, especially young guys. Young guys, no matter how talented they are, going to make mistakes, and your job as a defense is to pressure and make the mistakes. And I think Dallas has the players to do that. And with the coaching of Marinelli going hand in hand with Richard, I think it's going to be even a better year two with both of those guys together.
Appreciate everybody's comments. Thanks for helping moderate in there, Stevie Mack and Matish's Cowboy, and a couple of the people that are helping us moderate the comments because we got a bunch of haters that come in, want to call us cowgirls and things like that. But it's
Uh,
cool because they like to jump in and watch. Do you guys ever, let me know in the comments, do you ever go to another team's YouTube channel and watch their videos? I would never, ever do that. It just doesn't make sense.
I
I
don't
don't
even
get it.
sit. Why would I sit in there and talk trash to y'all? Like, first of
I
all,
don't
y'all some
understand.
bums. Your
Like,
your
be happy
team
about your team.
your teams are bums. Like we don't even think about your teams. Like nobody is jumping in and talk about no damn Saints. Like for real, y'all some bums. Like and these teams that be jumping in there like these hoo hums that just come on here like they've been dominating and terrorizing the NFL forever. If you like the Saints and you talking trash, you got one Super Bowl and that was a long time ago with Drew Brees. How many times y'all been getting there and it ain't been happening? Shut your mouths, man. Y'all ain't doing nothing year in and year out. You had three straight losing seasons, and you just now getting back in the playoffs. Hush, and I don't care what happened. Maybe you got robbed, but we got robbed in 2014. So be quiet. I don't want to hear you crying. And if the Eagles jump in here, you trolling Redskins, any of your teams, just be quiet because I would not even think about going into some Giants or some Eagles and sitting there and be like, "Oh, y'all suck."
I don't get it.
No, y'all not worthy of me doing that.
I just have no interest
You're
in it.
not
I like my
worthy
team.
of me doing that. I want to talk about my team. I don't want to talk about your team. Your team sucks. Why do I want to talk about your team and get in your feed and tell you your team sucks? I don't need to do that. Your
Car-
team already sucks.
Carlitos Molina says they're undercover fans.
They are
I mean,
undercover
they gotta
fans.
be. I posted
They
a
they know your team. Hey, remember when you posted that thing? I think you're going to talk
the
about it, aren't you?
the meme with the
Yes.
books. There was like a big
Yes.
stack of books. It said on one
Yes.
side it was a big stack of books. It said, well, it was a small side, and it said what Cowboys haters know about their own teams, and then it had a big stack of books. It said what Cowboys haters know about the
They know
Cowboys.
all our players. They know the stats. They know everything about our team
They know
every
where our
week.
channels are. I've never
Every
even.
week they watching our game. You get what I'm saying? Talking about us. They talk about their team, but they worrying about but y'all suck. No, but you like us though. You love that. Just like see like looking at us right now, we look fresh. You get what I'm saying? Your colors just don't look fresh. We got fresh backgrounds. We fresh blue. That blue white. It's just fresh. It is. Y'all ain't fresh like
Yes,
us,
I
man.
love the
Y'all just
Cowboys attire.
y'all see the Cowboys attire is banging, and y'all hate it. And it don't matter if we ain't won in a long time. Yeah, we're frustrated about that, but we're still better than you. You get what I'm saying? And I don't go to the past. I don't use that past stuff. But man, if you just now getting on the scene and you still ain't win nothing, you just won something and something, man, just be quiet, dog.
Jamie Tony says not a Cowboy fan, but great content, and I'm subscribed. Appreciate you, Jamie.
Yeah,
That's
appreciate
what
that.
it's all about. Maybe it's just the good production, the good talk.
Ain't
You
no
know what I mean?
But I mean, I'm gonna tell a Redskin, Deadskin fan when I see him, y'all some bums. Like I'm gonna say it. Like I got a little side gig at the cell phone repair shop. This is a little segue. Hey, holla if you in the Columbus, Ohio area and you need a phone fixed, come find me, dog. And I slang them phones too. You feel? I do all them computers, all that good stuff. Anyway, A Steeler fan came in there wanting to get his phone fixed. I looked at his phone opened up, and it had Steeler on there. So anybody who comes in there with some Redskins, Steelers, anything, and
They don't
I'm
know
gonna
you're
say
a
something.
Cowboys fan
I
because
don't know something.
you ain't
I
wearing
can't wear
Cowboys.
my Cowboys gear stuff like that because it's more professional. So I can't wear my Cowboys gear. So I was just be looking. I was like, "Oh, Steeler fan, huh?" He like, "Yeah, yeah," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Cowboys. Shut up." You feel me? He like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." Okay. And the first thing that they say is six. Okay. So they don't want to go in history, but that's the only thing they live off is six. I'll go back and say, well, yeah, but we smacked you though at your crib, dog. Matter of fact, we smacked you the last 2 times. We smacked you though in that classic game, 2016. Everybody still plays it. It's like a
Yes,
billion
that's a
one
classic.
game. That's a classic game because that game was hard as hell. And what we did and what
And we
Zeke
had
was doing,
rookies.
Dak
Yes,
was doing, and Dez was doing, man, that game was hard as hell. And it was even harder because the Steelers thought they won. And guess what happened?
one of the best games we probably ever played on offense. With like all around balance.
Sorry,
Um,
jump off talker. They made us jump off talker.
well, we're just kind of going through some comments right now.
All
Daniel
right, cool.
Meza says didn't even know other teams had YouTube channels. That's what I'm thinking. Like maybe they just don't have streams. Like they can't, so they just come to
Get that
ours
game. Step your game up
because there
then.
aren't any streams for other teams or something.
Step your game up then. And even if y'all had streams, if I was slide through YouTube and I seen a Kansas City Chiefs feed, only way I'm gonna see it is if the feed is live and it just happens to come through my feed. That's the only way I'm gonna see it. But I'll be damned if I jump in any of y'all feeds and say anything to y'all bums. Now I will say if y'all my Facebook friends and all that, oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely call y'all bums. I'm gonna definitely call y'all bums if y'all my Facebook friends. I'm gonna definitely call y'all out all the time and say y'all suck if y'all my Facebook friends all day. So you best believe I'm gonna be in your inbox talking trash and saying y'all straight bums and we smack the hell out of y'all. I'm gonna be in your inbox then, but not in your feeds. But if you my friend though, you best believe when the season starts, I'm getting all in your inbox, talking trolling all on your page.
Willis said the dude was going down the whole roster like it was his team.
It is his team. He got magazines, the Cowboys back there, and I bet he got gear.
Daniel says they like staring at the star on my hat and the D on your hat.
D all in the mouth.
Hey, but hey, we appreciate the view and we hope we get a like and a subscription. Even though you don't like the Cowboys, we still love having fun with you in there in the comments. So,
It's all good. It's all fun. We just having fun. Ain't nothing
so,
personal. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. We just having fun.
and if you just tuned in, we've been covering the draft picks that the Cowboys had. Today was the last day of the 3-day draft. Wrapped it up. Cowboys ended up with 8 picks after starting with 6. Did a few trades, a little wheeling dealing. Picked up a couple extra picks. Got some guys that come in and compete. And we just went through the first 5. So now we're going to get to the 6th one. And we're looking at finally what everyone was waiting on, but maybe not the player everybody wanted, the position safety. And it is Donovan Wilson from Texas A&M.
Okay. Well, as I said before, I'm not critical of this pick. I'm looking at the pick. Well, I just feel like this was a pick where the Cowboys are like, okay, we need to at least get a safety in this draft so we can have all the fans to shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up. We got you a safety. He's in the 6th round. Just shut up. He's got good size. He's a hitter. He's a thumper. Just shut the hell up. Leave us alone about this damn safety thing.
Everybody tweeting at him and hashtagging.
Where'd you get there? We got one. That was a shut the hell up pick.
Think
That's
about
what
how
I feel like.
Think about how far it goes back. We've been wanting safety, like Earl Thomas from like 2 years ago. All that speculation, like that's how long these Cowboys fans have been dying for some big time safety.
And this was a shut the hell up pick. I
because you don't really like the pick.
I don't really like the pick. I'm sorry. Like I'm looking at him on tape. Maybe I gotta go to a tape guru to smack me together and say, "You're wrong, Jay. You don't know what the hell you're talking about." Maybe I need somebody to tell me that. But from what my eyes are seeing from this Donovan Wilson, he's an enforcer. He's got an attitude. He's strong. He'll hit you. He's a dude that'll come light you up. But beyond that, I don't see him great in coverage. I don't see him like super athlete like those guys that we were talking about we were wanting, and I just don't see him coming in. We already got Xavier Woods locked and loaded at one spot. Jeff Heath, they call the GOAT, is there. And they got Ioka, who's not bad. He had good years at Cincinnati. Just had an uneven year at Minnesota, but he had very good.
I remember him being a
So I
hot
don't see this
commodity at one
Donovan
point.
Wilson coming in and challenging these two. I just don't see it. So that's why I think this was just a shut the hell up pick. I think he'll be a guy that can play on special teams. I don't even see him being better than Kayvon Frazier.
That's what
So,
I've been saying. Like, why draft a safety at all if you're gonna pick him this late? Like,
oh,
Xavier Woods was pushing it last season. You know what I mean? Like with the lateness of a safety pick. I mean, he ended up turning out to be pretty good, but you got to get a guy that's better than somebody on the current team, or what's the point? I mean, like we got Kayvon Frazier, Jeff Heath. We just named 4 dudes. Like this is just basically a wasted pick in my mind. I don't. If you're gonna take a safety, you got to get one of those guys that can come in and really compete for a starting position. That's what I
you know,
think because we've been wanting to improve there, not just have depth. We already got the depth in my mind.
well, I think might be a situation where the Cowboys wanted a few safeties, but they really didn't want to lose a couple of these picks that they really, really liked. And I really feel that they must feel safe and secure with Jeff Heath and Ioka right there. So they didn't feel like, well, we don't have to jump out there and reach because we have guys that we're good with. I think that's the reason why it wasn't as dressed as early as it was, and maybe some players got taken after that. Because, as I said before, Tristan Hill, after he got taken, they took all three of them safeties. Maybe you take a Tristan Hill, and then you don't. Maybe you take a Taylor Rapp or a Thornhill, and you don't get that space eater you want. People were crying about Gerald Willis, and I like Gerald Willis. But I told people, and I liked Emmanuel Hall from Missouri. They were wondering why did he get drafted. Well, they had interviews. From what I hear, they had interviews, and after they had the interviews, they were marked off the list. So that means they didn't interview well with the Cowboys. So if they didn't interview well with the Cowboys aren't going to pick them, and that's why you didn't see them. So if they marked Gerald Willis off the list and he was a defensive tackle they liked, and they really liked Hill, I'd rather lose out on one of these safeties than lost out on Hill because everybody and their mama was crying about why don't we get a defensive tackle early? What's ever Gee, since we lost to the Rams, everybody was screaming, we never get a defensive tackle early. We always wait. We never ever get one. Then when we get one, everybody's crying about safety. I don't get it.
And like I was saying last night too, because we were live during the draft last night, just so we actually saw it happen. But I was talking about if the guy is there that first with the defensive tackle spot, we definitely needed that because when we look back at that Rams game, what's the biggest thing that happened? We got gashed right up the middle by the running game. Like there was no push. Their offensive line dominated our defensive line. We added 3 defensive linemen to this draft, and we got Robert Quinn, free agency. So it's working out pretty good at that spot. But that's what they needed to address was putting beef in the middle of the defensive line. I feel like that was one of our biggest complaints last season. We liked Antoine Woods. Malik Collins was coming back off the injury, so he wasn't probably in 100% shape for the whole season. But now you got some depth there and some competition, and I feel a lot better about it now than you probably would have if we not picked a dude there and we just roll with the same guys. And then next year we get gashed again by the run. That would be killing us. But I was saying with the safety position from yesterday, if there's a guy there that you want, like a Thornhill or an Abram, you got to trade up in there and grab that guy before someone else does. You see all these teams doing that. If there's a guy that they want and they know it's their guy, they're going to go get him and jump in front of another team. And they're going to take chances because if you know that's a guy, you got to get him. So the Cowboys must just not have been very high on these safeties in this draft, or they could have done it. They could have made a trade somehow.
I just feel like they were maybe like the safeties, but I just feel like they were more satisfied with who they had, and they didn't want to lose
That's
a
what I'm
player.
saying. If there's a
They
guy
didn't.
you want, you're going to trade up for him. So they must not have wanted a dude that bad in this draft. I don't
No,
think.
they wanted that Hill. That's who Marinelli wanted. That's who they were targeting, and they did not want to lose him. So they're like, well, we'll just sacrifice our safeties because we're okay. So, as I said, Wilson, we'll see what happens. Even if he got 100 as interceptions, he just doesn't look like that type of guy to me. Maybe I might be wrong, but I don't see him jumping in and being a starter with the Cowboys. I still see Jeff Heath and Ioka rotating the spot, and maybe Wilson can get in some spot plays. But I see him playing a lot of special teams if he makes the team. Remember, he's a 6th-round draft pick. Those guys are not guaranteed to make
Right.
the squad at all.
So I'm just really hoping that maybe Iloka comes in and does the things that Jeff Heath did not do. Otherwise, I can see us sitting here complaining next offseason about how bad we need a safety again because now our weakness is we get bad angles taken on tackles and things like that. We're getting beat deep or things like that, like from safety. Because I think we're good at linebacker, defensive line. I don't think we have anything to worry about there. So I think next season we're going to be looking at the safety spot again.
Well, we'll have to see because Ioka's only on a 1 year deal, and I believe Heath is on a 1 year deal as well. So they're probably going to address it next year. We'll see what safeties are out there. I posted an article on my page, Big Game James. Make sure you go check it out and like that page too,
Facebook
as,
page.
as Facebook page, as well as like and subscribe to our Silver and Blue Nation. But I posted something how the Raiders, who have Carl Joseph as their safety, and they drafted Jonathan Abram that could be signed for Joseph that they don't sign him. Mike Mayock said they were going to address it, the 5th year option, and it wasn't guaranteed that he was going to get the 5th year option, so he could be playing his last year. So I said, it's just something to keep your eyes on because if Joseph doesn't get picked up, he's a guy who'll be out there who's still a young safety the Cowboys can may go after because. It'd be some back and forth. You see the back and forth with the Raiders and the Cowboys. So all I'm saying is keep your eyes and ears peeled early because you never know what's going on.
Yes. Eric Lopez says the Cowboys would pick up a veteran safety. Is there anybody available that you'd be interested in?
I don't think they're gonna do it. People keep on mentioning Trey Boston. If I feel like if they were going after Trey Boston, they would have got him over Ioka. And I don't not hating on Boston, but this is 2 years in a row they haven't even touched this kid. So obviously they're not feeling him. So when people keep bringing him up, I just don't talk about it because nobody has said anything about Trey Boston in the Cowboys camp. So it doesn't matter what he may have did on the field or this and that. If the Cowboys ain't talking about him, there's no need for me to talk about no Trey Boston. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got Ioka. They feel okay. If they wanted Trey Boston, they wouldn't have got Ioka. That's
But
what I feel.
and that's partly why they got Ioka too. Ioka was so that they had that need filled before this draft, so they didn't have to come into this draft having to take a safety.
That's why they did it.
So they must feel Iloka is maybe up there with some of the top safeties that were in this draft, or something to that effect, maybe. Or they just have a lot of faith in Jeff Heath, like we've been saying. The
No
U,
Eric Berry either.
the U says on YouTube, Cowboys picking Hill at 58 was reminiscent last year of drafting LVE. They target their guy and snatch him up. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, and we've been saying it too. We've been saying this. That's what you do if there's a guy that you want. Everybody thought we reached for Travis Frederick, thought we reached for LVE. There's probably some other guys. Zach Martin, I believe, even some people
Jalen
thought we
Smith.
reached for him.
Jalen Smith. He had
They've
the
all
injury.
they've all worked out. So if you know it's your guy, you got to get him. Who cares what anyone else thinks, because you don't want anyone else. You want that guy. So it don't matter where you pick him, really.
That's why we went after Hill. And I'm sad. Like I said, I'm very satisfied with that pick.
All right, so that was. Let's take a look. Let's get it up here. Graphic up here. That was our 5th round, our final last 5th round, or no, that was our 6th round pick right there. I forgot. We just talked about the safety, Donovan Wilson, Texas A&M. That was our 6th round pick, our one and only. After we did not have a 6th round pick, Cowboys did some wheeling and dealing, jumped back into the 6th round. Now we
And that
jump
was
into.
great on their part.
Yes, somehow they, like I said, added 2 players, and you never know who could turn out to be something out of those 2 players. So, but now they also added another additional 7th round pick, and we're about to get in 2 of those. So now we're about to get into that now, and we're starting with the running back position again after already taking one. Dallas drafts their second running back, Mike Weber from Ohio State. I love this pick. What are your thoughts?
I mean, he was in my mock draft. I had Mike Weber as a mock draft on the 5th. He was one of the 2 running backs I said between him and Pollard where the Cowboys were going to draft. They ended up drafting both of them. I'm just gonna go get ahead and give what's his name, Charlamagne the guy, and he says go ahead and give blah 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 the Clue Blom a clue.
Hee-haw. Oh.
No, I'm not getting no damn Doc. I'm getting a clue bomb right now. Yeah, shout outs to Big Game James for calling Tony Pollard and Mike Weber. So give him a clue bomb for the day. You feel me? Anyway, but yeah, I like Mike Weber. You know, somebody tried to bust me out. Jarrell Williams, if he's jumping in here right now, he busted me out because I said, I was saying that they were trying to hype him as the next Zeke, and I disagree with you in that bit. I thought, he was a good back, but I don't think he was nothing Zeke like when they were trying to hype him as he was like going to be the next great Zeke. He had a great freshman year, yes he did, but I just didn't see no sensational back. I seen a good back, not a sensational back. Zeke is a sensational back.
He's once in a
Weber's a
generation.
good back. You get what I mean? So, and then he had the Knicks injuries. But the thing I like about him is that he banged with your boy, what's his name, KJ Dobbins, took a
JK, yeah.
back seat to him. And the thing I like about it is he never complained. He never was in the in the news, anything saying, crying about his role. When he came in, he did his job. He got good yards, and I think that prepared him for the NFL. And I think that helps him prepare him for if he gets on the team, he'll be a good backup to Zeke. He has good, get off out the line, good vision. Doesn't have the super 4.3 breakaway speed, but ran a good 4.4, 5, I believe, at the combine. So he has enough speed. And I just think he's a good steady back, and he'll be a guy that can give some. When you look at when we had Rod Smith, I didn't think those were positive carries when Rod Smith would come into the game. I didn't feel like the offense was going forward when Rod Smith would get in the game. It seemed like we would lose yards when Rod Smith would get in the game. And I think the thing about Mike Weber, if he get in the game, he's going to get us positive yards, and he has that burst and juice that Rod Smith didn't offer. And I think that's what we want with the Cowboys at the backup running back position. Some guy can offer some juice and not to be the big bruising 6'3". We don't. I don't want that. I want a guy that's got some juice. And Zeke goes out, he comes right in. The offense doesn't miss a beat. You feel me?
Yeah, and while I do think he does have some Zeke-esque qualities to him, because I can have this verified by someone that I've worked with as well before, watching some Ohio State games, because being from Columbus, and I've seen every game this guy has played in, and there's a couple times where I said, that looks like Zeke to me, like the way he would just break away. He has that elusiveness to where he has great vision, and he has that extra acceleration, that extra gear when he gets in open space. Like, he's just gone. Like, if he gets some open field, you're not going to catch this guy from behind. He's sneaky fast. He's faster than what he looks. And I think he ran a 4.3, right, at the combine.
No, he didn't run a 4.3. He
I'm
ran a
pretty
four four
sure it was a
five.
4.3.
No, it was not a 4.3. You want to bet some money on that?
I'm not going to bet money because I'm not
You
100%
should, because
sure,
I'm
but,
gonna win.
well, I'm not
I'm
100%
100%
sure.
sure. I'm 100%
Well, I'm
sure.
going to have to take a look.
Take a look.
Anyway, I think he's more comparable to like a Carlos Hyde if we're going to look at like comparing to other Ohio State running backs. Like
Mm,
Carlos Hyde would be considered good, not great. So
but he's more. But Carlos Hyde is more of a bruising back than Weber.
I feel like Weber's got a lot of bruiser in him. I think he does.
Nah.
I think
Mm.
he's bulky. He's
He's 215, but he's not that like Zeke bulky.
I mean,
You,
you said it yourself. Zeke's a one in a generation talent. We're not going to compare him to Zeke. So I'm just
right?
saying,
I'm
like,
saying body type though.
yeah, Carlos Hyde is what I'm thinking, like around somewhere around that area, like of a Carlos Hyde. Like, I just feel like if we're going to compare him to Ohio State running backs, he's more similar to him than, because Hyde is a guy who can break away and score from anywhere on the field, but you don't consider him a Zeke. It's like he's not on
Nah.
that next level.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, a little bit of backstory on the situation with him in college. He comes in as a freshman in Ohio State, 1,000-yard back. Urban Meyer's his head coach. They love to run the quarterback, so he didn't even get a ton of carries that he probably could have had. But they love running the quarterback under Urban Meyer at Ohio State. So, when he was there. So a 1,000-yard back. Then he gets hurt in the second season, and then they have this other freshman that has to play, J.K. Dobbins, who was a top recruit out of high school, but he had to play because Weber gets injured. Dobbins is a monster, and Weber has an injury bug. What are you gonna do? You can't sit this kid J.K. Dobbins now because he's playing like a beast. Weber's good as well, but he has the injury bug, so it's like
They're confirming my
they're splitting
speeds.
time. And
I
go
don't mean
ahead.
to cut you off. They're confirming my speeds though.
Who confirmed?
I got 3 confirmations: 448, 447.
Okay, well, it would make sense that you would know it more. I didn't say that was it. I said I
I'm
didn't
just. You
know.
said it was.
I
Yes,
said
you
I didn't
did.
know. We can go back and look at the tape.
You said for sure. I'm
I
pretty sure
said
it was
I
4-3.
believe he was a 4-3. I said I'm not 100% sure. I won't bet you money on that. That's what I said. So I had my clause in there, not my disclosure, my disclaimer. I'm not
he, said,
100% sure.
he said the disclaimer.
Anyway, J.K. Dobbins is an NFL quality running back. If he has a great season this year, he could end up being a top first round pick. So
Yeah,
that's
he's
the
good.
type of competition that Mike Weber was dealing with in the backfield at Ohio State, and even splitting time coming in off the bench, he still took huge advantage of his opportunities when he did. So, like you said, he didn't complain about it when he was the feature back, and then he had to be reduced to splitting time and even being the backup. So, you gotta like that. He's already got that type of mindset coming in that he's not going to be the starter, but he's going to try to take the most of his opportunities. So you gotta love that about him, and I just think this guy is going to be probably the biggest steal of this draft based on where he was drafted.
Of the draft?
Of the draft.
No,
Yes.
no.
I mean, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to disagree on that one because that seven, the steal of the draft, meaning he had to get like 600-700 yards rushing. He's not getting. See.
No, I'm not saying this season. I'm talking about his career. Like, he'll end up
Oh,
being
okay.
the steal. Like, he will probably. I feel like he could start for a team. I don't think he's. I think he could be a 3 down back for any team, like coming right in. Just from what I've seen of. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I've watched him more than anybody else. But I believe that after watching Zeke and then watching him, that's what I feel like.
We'll
So
see.
by steal I mean like if I want to set a standard for that, uh, we'll say a guy who starts for another team. Like maybe he
Okay.
never starts for the Cowboys, but he goes and starts for another team. If he becomes a starter and he's in this league more than 3 seasons, he was a steal as a 7th round pick.
Yeah, that's true.
But we have yet to see. But that's just a little bit of prediction I'm gonna make right now. Anyway, comments, more Mike Weber. What do you think? Last pick.
No, let's jump on this kid because this is a kid that I honestly didn't have anything not the knowledge about. But when I went and watched the tape, this kid is somebody who you need to watch out for. Jalen Jelks, man, he's got a lot of good measurables. 6'5", 256 pounds. He played out of position. You know, he played defensive end, but really doesn't have the size as you look at him right now. If you can get the other picture you got for him, G, he's not like a stout guy. So you can see him getting overpowered, but he's one of them guys. He's not just a hustler. He has moves. Like he has good hand movement. He's got intensity. He's always going after the play, and he's a good athlete. So they were looking and they were saying, and I can see it, that you could transition him and put him at an outside linebacker. Now, could you imagine getting him right? 6'5", 256 pounds, playing outside
That's a
linebacker,
long
dude.
outside linebacker.
You get what I'm saying? And he's banging with look at LVE. What's LVE?
He's long too.
You get what I'm saying? Jalen Smith ain't no little dude either. So you got another guy like this, and you could transfer him and make him a hybrid and make him like stand up as well and be a linebacker because you look at his body type can be a linebacker. You get what I'm saying? Like he doesn't have the stoutness to play the defensive end position in the NFL. Every single play, he'll get swallowed up. Those offensive line will destroy him. He'll get swallowed up every play. But you could put he is a guy, this Jux kid, that he makes a squad. He could be a third down pass rush specialist. You can see him bringing him on third down, and you're just going after the quarterback, and you bring him in, and he could get you them spot plays. And like I said, if he's good enough to transition as a linebacker, please do it with him. I didn't. I was saying that he might not make the roster. I put that on my page. I can say I did and could have been wrong. But then after I really watched the tape and looked at him, and then I read a lot of things what they were saying about him. Then I read for myself, watched the tape. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm seeing where he can play that hyper position and being a tweener in the league. And Marinelli's another guy that, with his intensity, can get his hands on him and work magic because that's what Marinelli does.
I didn't watch or read nearly as much as you did, but I definitely feel like, and these are all my opinions. I'm just a fan. I don't claim to be an expert. In fact, I don't claim to have a ton of knowledge about anything detailed. I definitely know players in our history. We've had a lot of conversations. You know, I do know
Hmm.
a good deal of Cowboys talk, but I don't read all the articles and things like that, and I don't watch all the tape, but I think that when you talked about bringing a guy in who could be like a sack specialist, for some reason I felt that would be more for the guy from Miami, the Joe Jackson. This guy kind of reminds me a little bit more of like a Taco Charlton from what I've been watching.
Nah, not to me. I don't see no Taco Charlton at all with him. I don't see that close because Taco Charlton is a guy who can't be a pass rush specialist. He can't be a guy that you bring on third down and just get a big third down sack. That's not what excuse me, Taco is. He needs to play the whole dang old game because he's not that quick. He's not that to me that quick twitch athlete. He's got good athletic skills, but he's kind of lumbersome sometimes. This is a guy who's quick off the ball, good intensity, and as I can said, he can transition. I believe if you can transition him to a linebacker, he can be that. He's more of a pass rush specialist. If you look at the Joe Jackson kid, he's a guy that's a workman. He's a guy that bull rushes you. He's a guy that keeps fighting you, fighting you, fighting you, fighting you all game, and he's got that strength. This is a guy who you're like third down and 12, and you need a big key sack, and this guy comes out of nowhere and is jumping up and down, screaming. You're like, this kid out of Oregon is jokes is surprising everybody. He's and then like I said, try to move him at linebacker, fellas. Ben Bloom, do something. If he can do it, please try to make him because, like I said, the body type is the type where you can make him do that. Try to make him go there. That'd be great.
Okay, Eric Loafman says definitely hybrid player in special teams.
Yes, lumbersome.
Um,
Somebody said lumbersome.
Lumbersome.
Yes,
Eric
lumbersome.
Loafman said
Is
Joe
that a word?
Jackson's a high motor guy.
He is.
Um, well, is there anything else that you had on him?
Jokes.
Yes.
No, like I said, I just feel like this is a guy that can be a project who you can look at linebacker. So I think that's the exciting thing I see with him. If he's able to make the squad, it will be tough. Cowboys flipped their magic and got added 2 more picks. So and that defensive line is very crowded. So it's going to be tough for a lot of these guys at camp. You remember when they had Tapper and those guys in camp, and they were talking about, man, we're stacked back there, and it's going to be tough. Somebody's going to get cut. You see how quick that faded and went away. But now, it's got the same thing, but this time, along with just having depth, you have talented depth. And that makes a world of difference when you have talented depth along the line. Because now, which I love, it brings competition to every position. That's what you want to have competition at every position. So when that starter wakes up every day, he doesn't have to just feel like I'm putting on my jersey and I got my spot and I don't have to work hard today. I can take a playoff. I don't have to play hard today because ain't nobody taking my spot and ain't nobody threatening me. So I'm just going to just kind of jog down the lines. Everything's all good. No, create that competition to where you were jogging down the line today and this young second year player is going after it. Guess what? You're sitting the bench. Oh, you twisted the ankle. Oh, guess what? You're not getting your spot back. That's what I want because that's going to make those top guys stay on top of their heels and it's going to make our team so much better. You want competition at every spot. You don't want to feel no guy is secure at their spot because if they have that fear, they tend to always play better when you have that fear of your job being taken.
Real quick, Aaron Henry says Mike Weber, and a few other people saw Mike Weber ran 4.48, 4.47, something like that. But I'm still pretty sure that he was at least one of the fastest running backs at the combine. So if that says anything. Um, well, that's the Cowboys 2019 draft, and you can even add Amari Cooper to that list as a number one pick, a wide receiver from Alabama, if you wanted to. So that would be 9 picks the Cowboys accumulate for this draft.
Mm-hmm.
And you got your receiver, you got some offensive linemen you beefed up with the running backs, you got some defensive linemen and some secondary help. I think all needs were met and addressed, and I feel pretty good about it. I really hope that some of these later round picks turn out to be guys. Sometimes you have them drafts where like almost all of them hit and they all it's just a nice thick draft. You might only lose 1 or 2 dudes out of the draft, and the rest of them stick around. I like drafts like that. I hope this is one of them.
Yeah, it looks like it. I like I said, to me, what it really stands out to me about this draft was depth. That's the word I'm gonna come away with this draft is depth.
We've been saying it's
Talented
luxury.
talented depth, and we've been saying from time and time again this was going to be a luxury draft for the Cowboys because they went out and did the right things. They went out there and got free agents that were low cost or good cost, but yet were talented, and we're still in peak and prime years, not in those washed up 35-year-old playing 1 year. No, we got guys that were young, 25, 26, 27, 28 years old, not bringing the age of the team down because Dallas was a young team before they got these guys. So you hit really good in your free agency and you get young guys. And then now, like I said, luxury draft. And look at the picks that they have. Tristan Hill, defensive tackle. Connor McGovern, offensive tackle. I mean, offensive guard. Great positions that you always want to keep stacked up in. Then you get another
Trenches.
defensive tackle. I mean, defensive end in Joe Jackson. Then you get another guy, Jason Just, who could play different positions right there. You go out there and get a cornerback to add in the secondary where you already hit that in free agency, and you get the running back position which you needed to add with the Rod Smith leaving via free agency. And not only do you get running backs, you get two talented running backs, and you get a guy that can play special teams in the punt return and kick return game. And Dallas has been certainly lacking in that. We had Tavon Austin show a little bit, but we haven't had a consistent guy who could just take it to the house in a very long time in the kickoff game or punt return game. So that needs to be addressed on special teams, and I think this Pollard kid can make that happen. If you really seen him, some of his tape, he's got really good balance. I mean, he guys hit him and he still stays up and goes. So I'm really excited about the draft. I'm giving the draft a B. I know you asked some people in here, what do they think? And I
Most
saw
people say
some
B.
if a lot of people want to give their grades to again because I didn't get to see a lot of your grades, I like to see a lot of the grades that the people say. I'm saying a B, a good high B. Not gonna say no A, but definitely a good B. Love the depth, love the talent, and I can see a lot of guys making this team.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the draft a B plus, maybe A minus, somewhere right in there, because I feel like it was a lot of safe picks, especially early on there. Those anytime you get guy on the lines, you get dudes from the linemen, offense and defense that early. I feel like those are safe picks, and also feel like you can't go wrong drafting running backs late because we've seen it a lot in recent history and throughout the NFL. The value of running backs has just depreciated so much, and the draft's just so full of them now. Like guys just get overlooked, and Mike Weber could be one of those guys. But I was also the same guy who was excited about Bo Scarborough, so I don't know.
Right,
I
right.
don't
A
know.
lot of people were excited about Bo Scarborough. You know what I mean? I think it was just one of those kind of numbers game, and it was kind of Rod Smith's position. They wanted to try him out one more year and see what he could do, and I think that's the reason why Bo Scarborough got squeezed out. But now I think the Cowboys really want to stay young at that position and exciting. And guys, like I said, Rod Smith, when he got in the game, it didn't seem like he added. It didn't seem that it seemed like the team stalled unless you were throwing passes to Rod Smith. If you were throwing a good screen to Rod Smith, it looks like a play would happen. But if you're just trying to run up the middle, like everybody knew that play, and you need a guy that can really have some juice and have some vision and not have seem like it takes forever for him to get to the line of scrimmage, or if there's not a good block and maybe a guy misses his block, Rod Smith is getting tackled at the backfield. Whereas you have a guy like maybe like a Weber or a Pollard that could probably miss that tackle and then scoot another 5 or 6 yards like a Zeke does.
Or
And I think
breakthrough.
that's what, yeah, and I think that's what the Cowboys were really looking for as far as the backup position with the Cowboys.
Stevie Max says Cowboys already have 9 or 10 undrafted free agents signed, so we will get into those probably at another stream because I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little bit tired. A lot of you guys are probably getting tired. It's getting late. I've
Yeah,
been
I'm
up
later
really
than
early.
you.
Yeah, you're a lot later than me. You're 12:30. I'm 9:30 Pacific time right now. You're
Hmm.
over on Eastern time. Where are you guys
We're
at?
doing.
I don't know.
Yeah, give a shout out
In the
where you're at before
comments,
we get off here.
yeah, let's shout out some locations. Let's see what time
Shout
it
out
is
some
where you
locations.
are.
So
Dan,
what time is it?
Daniel Meza said 2016. He's talking about when I said hope this is one of them drafts where like you hit on like almost all the players.
Yeah,
2016 is a good
yeah,
example
yeah.
when you hit good in the fourth round and you get the sixth round cornerback that ends up being a starter and things like that. Um, Kyle
Kyle
Banks,
back. Go ahead.
are you gonna go ahead and shout out the grades? Is that
No,
what you were doing?
no, I'm gonna let you do all that.
I thought you was
I was
doing
just
it.
gonna give a shout out to where they were calling out. Kyle Banks was saying from Alabama to you in
Oh,
New
okay.
Jersey.
I was just looking back at the grades because you had asked some people to throw some grades in there.
Oh, go ahead.
Kyle, because you said you ain't seen them yet. Kyle
No, I
Banks gave
didn't.
a B. Carlitos Molina gave a B. Aaron Henry a B plus. Eric Lopman says a B. It could be an A in 2 to 3 years when we see how they play out. Touchdown Cowboys gives it a C. The U said loves the Pollard pick. He thinks he'll be a wide receiver.
Mm, we'll see.
Yeah, so a lot of people right there with you in the B range and me as well, giving a B plus to A minus. So I think a lot of people are feeling good about this one. A lot of people probably confused early on or kind of like, what the hell? But when it played out and you look at it as a whole, I think you feel pretty good about it. At least I
Yes,
do.
sir. So let me give a few shout outs to everybody. Kyle Banks, Alabama, the U, New Jersey, Peter DeLeo. What's up with you, P? Sin City, Las Vegas.
Whoop
I
whoop.
got Carlitos Molina, Massachusetts. Stevie Mack, Jersey, Philadelphia. Whoop whoop. Okay. Daniel Meza, Dallas, Texas. Muggs Maxwell. Oh, on the side note, the Nuggets just upset the Spurs. I don't think that's an
That's not an
upset.
upset. Nuggets were
That's
the
not
two
upset.
seed.
Not no more. Nope, not. Nuggets got a good team.
It was a two seed.
Um, who else? Touchdown Cowboys. He gave a C. 214. David Sanders 972. We know where that's coming from. Franchise 82 P feet. I don't know if I said that right, but New Jersey, the Dirty Jers.
That
Kyle
is
Banks said,
actually Hulk Logan.
"Is that Hulk Logan?"
Yep.
Okay, what's up, Hulk Logan? Don't Why don't you just say that, dog? Don't have me sounding like a robot on here.
I,
Defender 32 5B.
yes, and
Ready? Oh, Rock Ready, Rock Steady Stewart. What up with you, dog? Ryan Dye, of course. Kyle Banks said he loves the channel, dog. Appreciate
appreciate that, Kyle. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you love it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up.
you.
We need those subscriptions. We need the thumbs up. And when you hit the descriptions, hit that extra bell, hit it twice, so that it sends you a little notification on the phone when we go live. So boom, you just click on it. You don't have to worry like, when are these guys live? We don't know. They're inconsistent. It'll just tell you right on your phone like a text message, like boop, Silver and Blue Nation
Right.
live. So
What's
just
it
hit
say?
that
How's it
subscription.
sound? How's it sound?
Boop, Silver and Blue Nation live, or however whatever noise your phone makes when it alerts you. But that's how you can be directly connected to when we go live, even better than Facebook when it comes to the notifications. And you get an email and everything. So just hit that double subscription button for us. We appreciate it. If you want to jump in here and talk with us and get your shout outs and all that, because you know how much we love doing that. That's kind of what we built this thing on.
Donation. Donation.
You can donate. You see the
You
super
can
chat. You
donate.
see the
What
little
they
money
say?
sign down there. I didn't want to say anything, but you guys can see it. There's a little money sign down there. If you're feeling a little
Donate.
generous, if you really want your comment read, guaranteed,
Donate.
you can send a little money to the super chat, and I will 100% guaranteed read that comment if you send some money, because it sends me a little thing, lets me know that, hey, this person made some money, so you need to say their comment. So if that's the easiest way to get your comment read if you really want it read.
Hey, just like coming to America. Hey, donation, donation. So, yeah, he said he good, terrible.
But hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the draft weekend. Now we can sit on this for a few months till training camp starts, mini camps, all these different things.
Are
We
we
can
going
look.
live on Facebook tomorrow?
We can do Facebook. We can come back to YouTube. We can do it all. So
He said we can do it all. Just keep on liking, subscribing to our YouTube page
yes,
for
all
real.
social media, all the links to all that social media is down in the description below. You can find a link to the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter. We're trying to update that all the time as well. Getting you the Cowboys news and just great Cowboys content, period, whether it's the latest news or cool pictures, things like that. Just subscribe to us on all of our social media. And yeah, you can just keep up with us all the time. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, keep it up. Like I said, the subscriptions have jumped. I keep tabs on the subscriptions. I really do. I look at it all the time. And in the past 40 days, man, I think we got up to like 100 subscriptions. And I think that's a huge shout out to everybody that Silver and Blue Nation. So I want to give a shout out. And guess what? Daniel Meza with the donation.
The super
So
chat.
hey, what's up with you, big dog?
You know
Shout out
what?
to Daniel Meza. And first, I'm gonna give a shout out to Daniel Meza because he been rocking for a long time. He went out there when I
Long
went out
time.
to Dallas
We met him.
last year for the draft. I went out there and kicked it. He showed hella support and has been supporting Silver and Blue Nation from that point and Dallas prospects. DDP, shout out to you, big dog. But we appreciate you. How about them Cowboys, Daniel Meza, my dog? I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Love you for it. And he's been a banger and a rider from day one. And I got nothing but love for Mr. Daniel Meza. That's my dog.
Hulk, you should change your name on YouTube to Hulk
Yes. Why don't
Logan.
you be
Just go
Hulk
ahead and
Logan?
switch it
Stop
to
being
that.
turn 30,
Franchise
25,
82.
95, 40 years. Stop being that.
um, he asked me how California's going. It's going really well. I mean, the weather is probably the greatest part. It's just sunny every day here. It always starts with a little bit of an overcast in the morning, but by noon it is just sun beaming down all day long. The women are beautiful out here. It's
Hell
just
yeah.
tans
You ain't lying.
everywhere.
You ain't lying
There's
about that.
oceans, there's palm trees, there's mountains, lots of people, lots of beautiful people. I'm getting job opportunities left and right, so I'm feeling good. It's going well so far, I gotta say, and I'm looking forward to coming down to Texas, meeting with you there, Big Game James, and some of you guys that be watching here too, because we've
Game
already met
time.
some of you. So hope to see you all there in Texas at some point. I'm here for training camp. Big Game James probably gonna come here. We're gonna drive
Ain't
up to
no
training
problem.
camp.
I'm gonna be there.
He can come stay
So
with me. He can bunk with me
yeah.
if he wants or get a room. It depends on what he's feeling. Either
That's
way,
my
he's got a
dog. I
place
ain't
to
gonna get no
stay.
damn hell hotel and paying $8,000 a night. You crazy? I'm coming to the crib, bruh.
Well, there it is, and we'll take the trip up. 2 hour ride. Boom, training camp. We're right there,
And you know
right up
what's
in the
going down.
action, getting you that
What up, Red?
exclusive stuff.
What up, Rocksteady Stewart? I am, just he been banging a long time too. So I appreciate you. Oh, that's my
Oh, they're
dog.
coming in
That's my
now.
dog, Peter DeLeo. That's my dog with the big 6 going
Yes,
down.
love you
We
guys.
appreciate you. Now let me give you a shout out about Peter. This dude goes hard in the paint. Once he started jumping on the Big Game
Lots of
James page,
knowledge.
he comes through with great breakdowns, like intellectual football thought, you know, and always is super enthusiastic. He gets me excited about my Cowboys. Like sometimes I might be a little frustrated, mad, but he always shows a lot of good things. Oh, hey
Oh
yo,
my God,
yeah,
they're
oh,
just
look,
rolling in
hey,
now.
with the 5 piecer, give me a big
Wow.
pound, bam.
I need to get these sound effects in here so we can give you guys a how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys right now? How about them Cowboys? We appreciate you, dog. We
Yes.
love you for it. I'm feeling good. These are our dogs right here coming through in the Cobra clutch. That's how, hey, man, that's just true love, like for real. I just really appreciate y'all for banging, and we're gonna keep out there grinding. We're gonna get out there to them training camps. We're gonna be out there in them games. Make sure you check out Miami Dolphins. I think producer G is gonna show you. If he don't have it now, he's gonna show you
I don't have it
what our
in here right now.
about coming down to the Miami Dolphins, Cowboys hosting Big Game James, producer G. We're gonna be at them games this year. Y'all need to be out there so we can be out there kicking it because we're gonna be front
Yes.
and center,
Reach
getting all
out.
them boys, interviews, all that. Check us out. It's going down. I got Anthony Wright coming on here next month on the Silver and Blue Nation page. I don't know if y'all know him. He played with the Cowboys for a couple years, started about 4 games. I needed a
Yes.
quarterback
Yes.
perspective, so I got in that box, and we gonna chop it up and have him on the show. And I'm gonna have more dynamic interviews on this piece. So if you want to get that banging stuff, I ain't saying we the best, but we up there, dog. We going hard in the paint. I'm gonna keep on having them fire interviews, so you better keep on staying into to the
Yes.
Silver and Blue Nation Big Game James, because I'm telling you, dog, it's going down.
If you didn't know, we've had Taco Charlton, we've had Jordan Lewis, we've had a Michael Wiley, we've had Greg Ellis, Lincoln Coleman Jr., who was playing behind him at Smith in a Super Bowl run season. So lots of great things that we've done and yet to come. So stay tuned with us. The ones that have been following us, you already know the story. We don't have to say it to you. You guys have been watching. Daniel says glory hole. I'm going to get the sound effects. I'm going to try to have those for us in a couple of days, the sound effects.
Yeah.
So we can get back to doing
Uh,
what we do with those because those are a big part of the show. Ryan Dye says, "Wait, G, you live in California." Yes, Ryan Dye. I know sometimes you're kind of in and out. You've got a busy stuff going on. You don't really get to see every show, but we announced it a couple weeks ago. I just moved out here. Been out here for about 3 weeks,
I'm
and I'm
going back
loving it so
to
far.
Cali.
I don't have kids. I don't have attachments. I'm good, so I can be wherever I want. I hope to meet a lot of you people too in the comments, leaving us comments. Hopefully someday we can all get together at a Cowboys game or event or party or something.
Big ching ding when
That would be great.
we hosting these events when we coming down because the sky's gonna be the limit. Make sure you keep on and check out the Cowboys experience as well. That's another link. Mr. Barry Griffith, he's been good to us. He's the one that really supplied us to getting into these games last year, first class. So if you're really number one for real, trying to get on to one of these games for your own personal, going to the games, be able to see the live action because there's nothing better than being on the field and seeing it when you're getting them field passes. Yo, we got the
Yeah,
hookup, dog.
I
We,
forgot
we
to
got the
post my
hookup for the commission pack. We got the
yes.
packages for you. So if you're really trying to bang to these games, jump in our inbox and with our pages on Facebook, either Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James, holla at us. So we can get you right and get you some good deals so you can get out to these games for real. Because I'm telling you, it's good seeing the games on TV and even when you're in the stands, when you can get right there on that field, dog, it changes the whole perspective of everything. You get to hear the players, you get to see them talking, you get to feel that function and that feel. So come on, holla at us, dog. And not only that, Cowboys experience, they're gonna be having Law Nation, Tyson West Coast, Mark Holmes. I think Vaz Lombardi gonna be on there at times. DDP, Dallas Prospects. Dog, we're gonna be going hard on there on that page, and it's gonna be all Cowboys news, the media row. So we're doing big things in 2019. So you better stay tuned because we ain't just trying to just play around. We're trying to rock this Cowboy stuff for real and have the for real Cowboys news. You feel me?
Yes, as Daniel Meza says, Barry Griffith is an awesome dude. Shout out to Barry who runs the whole Cowboys experience. Great time. I've said it last week, but I will at some point here. I'm going to get these pictures and videos up from when we went so you guys can see firsthand what we're talking about when we say you really get that VIP type experience when you do this. So I'm going to show you the hotel room. I'm going to show you the party bus. I'm going to show you where we sat for the game, or stood, I should say, but it was even better than having a seat, really, because
You can't
you're
sit.
not stuck. You know,
Yeah, I
you
don't want to
get
sit.
yeah. So um, that's it, though. I mean, we just covered the draft. If you missed anything from the show, you can go back and watch the beginning. We just covered the whole every Cowboys draft pick. Quick reaction to it. I'm sure more things will come to light. We'll learn more about these players. We'll be talking more about them as we go on here in the coming days and weeks and months, really leading up to training camp and those different kind of things. So we'll dive in more to the undrafted free agents and guys who could make the team, or maybe guys who get cut, or maybe there could still be trades to be made. So a lot of stuff to still get into. So make sure you stick around with us. And that's it for me. You got anything else?
No, I'm done. But I just want to tell you, I love the support that we're really getting. I don't want to ever come out of here and not say I love the support. Uh, we really grew on Facebook within these 2 years. Really grew really strong. But I just really see this YouTube really jumping. I really love the support that we're getting right here. Started out with like 12 people. Next thing you know, we out
Yes.
here banging, and I
We didn't even
love that.
touch it for like a year.
Didn't even touch it. And we just really appreciate y'all jumping in. I love talking Cowboys with y'all, and I just always like to say I appreciate everybody that really supports. That's all.
And I will second that. And I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Appreciate all the kind comments about the show. I always do go back and look through them, so don't think because we didn't shout them out that I don't see them, because I still go back and look. And I can't thank you all enough once again. So until we see you next time, hopefully, probably tomorrow.
Hmm.
So maybe check us out on Facebook. We'll make an announcement either way. I can post it on YouTube as well for those of you who aren't on our Facebook. That's Big Game James,
That's producer G Voltron.
and we will see you later.
Peace.